right, another day in the markets is complete, and we're going to do a quick roundup of everything that happened today so that you are caught up. And we're going to start here with the broader markets, taking a look at the SPX, and we could see that we finished down 0.73 points here on the SPX. That 50 simple moving average and the 50 EMA on the daily did their jobs. They held, but you can see that this is very important. This is a very critical price area right now. We have the point of control right above us. We're being squeezed by the 10-day exponential moving average, and the bulls are going to have to reclaim at least the point of control and that 10 in order for the price action to move higher. We do have an unfilled gap here at 74.6354, which also lines up with that thin area on the VRVP. So we'll see what Friday has in store with us. And yes, we do have this head and shoulders pattern that is forming very nicely. And we can see that if this 50 gives way, we have a clear path downward to the 100. If we break through the 100, we can hit the 200. And so we just have to watch. And we can also see too that the bearish volume has stayed pretty steady. And we know that June typically is weak, the end of June. And there's a lot of portfolio rebalancing that takes place during this time. And July, at least the beginning of July, is pretty strong. So we just have to continue to watch here. And today, really, it was all about the data that came in. We did get PCE, which came in line with expectations. You can see here the core month over month came in at 0.3 as was expected. Durable goods came in as expected. GDP came in a little higher than was forecasted. So really no surprises here, even though the PCE report was the highest it's been since 2023. You could see here PCE price index month over month, a tick cooler than what was forecasted. PCE price index year over year was in line. And then we also had personal income month over month was higher than what was expected, as was the personal spending month over month. So we did have some data that came in today. But really, this day was all about Micron and their earnings report yesterday. And yesterday, we actually came down and filled the gap from June 12th here, 2026. And we could see that after that gap was filled is when buyers started to step in here yesterday. And then we got that big banger of a gap up here. We could see that this thing ran up in pre-market to $1,256. It did give back some of those gains, and it was just a ripper of a day for MU. We set a new all-time high, and we'll see what wants to happen from here. A lot of people are taking profits. And interestingly enough, you did see that there are some companies out there that have said that because of this demand and bottleneck for memory, you have Apple, who's going to have to raise prices on their MacBooks, on their iPhones. Microsoft has to raise prices on their Xbox game console. So there are repercussions, and maybe that's potentially why there was some downward pressure here in the market. Taking a look at the Qs, again, we didn't come down and touch that 50, but you could see that is the support area that is below. We do have an unfilled gap here at 682.81. And you do have a head and shoulders pattern here that is lining up, but this is quite a bit of support here on the visible range volume profile, which is interesting when you look at the Qs because big tech just got smashed today. It got smashed. We'll take a look at the mags here in a second. IWM, I took a little trade on this for a winner today, but we set new all-time highs up here at 301.51. A little bit of an indecision candle. This is interesting to me because interest rates are expected to be hiked this year because of the addition of Kevin Warsh as the new Fed chair, but small caps continue to rise. And that's interesting because typically small caps are interest rate sensitive. The Dow Jones, new all-time high here as well, but you could see when it hit that new all-time high, profit taking came in. And we'll see if that's a reversal signal and we want to drop down. And then you have Mr. Bitcoin. It created a new recent low. If we just pull this line down, it seems like that's all Bitcoin does here as of late. New recent low, 57,000. Close. So we did we get there to 57,000? It looks like we did. Yeah, 57,989.07. Buyers did come in. Uptick in bearish volume Are bulls going to step back in here on Bitcoin? Who knows? But this thing just continues to languish. It's below the point of control, all the moving averages. Eventually it'll rebound, but that time does not look like it is today. The dollar, a little bit of weakness came in today. Gold finally got a little bit of a bid we could see here. Interestingly enough, TLT sold down and the 10-year Treasury dropped a bit, which was interesting. We broke below that trend line here. So we'll see what's going to happen if we're going to continue to fall further. Remember the people calling for 6% yield on the 10-year? Yeah, me too. The VIX, we could see that the VIX spiked a little bit, but we are creating lower highs here with those upper wicks that 50 served as a support. Let's see if we drop here on Friday. Oil got a little bit of a bid. And so more weakness came in today. We'll see what happens. But I did just want to take a quick look at the Mag 7 here. Not every Mag 7 ticker, but just taking a look at Nvidia. That head and shoulders pattern that I was joking about this weekend is playing out. But in talking with one of my coaching students today, what is interesting about the Nvidia chart is we're just essentially back down into the price range where we chopped around for almost a year. And keep in mind that last June into July, Nvidia went on a run. Let's see if that's going to happen again, because we've just essentially been moving sideways and we are almost near that 200 simple moving average. Taking a look at Google, filled the gap here, retested that 100-day simple moving average on the daily. Buyers did step in. Let's see if that wants to push out of here, but you do have quite a bit of resistance overhead. Apple, you can see that the market did not like them increasing their prices. And so this little bear flag that I had drawn here, boom, crushed. And look how it just gapped over that 50 simple moving average. That's pretty impressive. Down here to the 100 now for the first time since April 16th. Will there be a bounce here? I don't know. That's a pretty big candle. Looks like we might want to come for that 200. And then taking a look at Broadcom, below the 10, below the 50, coming down for that 100. The thing that I keep pointing out here is after the last gap down that we had on earnings back in December, this thing chopped down. So we might see more of that happen here on Broadcom. And then Tesla, head and shoulders here as well. And not a lot, but you are seeing the bearish volume kind of fade a bit. Will we get a bid here on Tesla? We'll find out soon enough. And Microsoft is just getting punished. So this inverse head and shoulders is out the window because we set a new low. We're making lower lows. And the bearish volume just continues to pick up. We're almost oversold, but it looks like it's heading lower. And I do think there is one unfilled. No, all the gaps from Liberation Day and the tariffs from last year are all filled. So who knows what's happening with Microsoft? Looks like it wants to come a little lower. And then you have Meta. It just keeps selling down. The M's, Microsoft and Meta, just continue to get pummeled. We nearly filled this gap here at 539.92 from this past March. Let's see if that's going to get filled. And we do have one unfilled gap here, 507.32 from the tariff debacle of 2025. Let's see if that one wants to get filled. And the last one we'll take a look at is Netflix, because we are about to fill another gap here, historical gap dating back to, this is 2024. And you would think that buyers are going to step into this thing soon, right? Bearish volume is declining. We are oversold. Let's see if the bulls want to step in here. But another red day in the markets. And if you're counting on the SPX, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 red days in a row, 6 out of 7 red days here. And if you just come over to the weekly, this is interesting too. 1, 2, 3, 4 red weeks. So that's what I got for you guys today. Let me know what you're looking at for tomorrow, our final trading day of the week. We only have 2 more days left in the month of June before we start July, which the beginning is a little bullish. So we will see what happens, but I hope you guys had a great trading day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.